Mom guilt isn't your problem. It's your signal. And I'm not saying this in theory. I'm a solo mom of four, one with special needs, and I built a multi-million-dollar business while raising them. I know exactly what this feels like. Guilt doesn't just come from nowhere, it comes from a conflict. So there's a gap between the life that you're living now and the life that you actually want for your kids and for yourself. So there's a misalignment, and that's what causes suffering. That's what causes pain. That's what causes that feeling of guilt. You didn't have kids so that somebody else could raise them, right? My guess? I know I didn't. And you didn't build a business so that you could miss your children's lives while you're busy making money for somebody else or keeping things together so that somebody else could go enjoy time with their kids while you did the work to support their business. That's not how it should work. And that's probably not what you actually really want. And again, there's that inner conflict, that gap between what your heart desires, which is to be a present mother, which is to be there at the games, which is to be present when you're there physically with them, and the reality that you are simply solely responsible for keeping all of the plates spinning at one time and food on the table and shoes on their feet and school activities going and all of the other things that come along with parenting. When I was raising my kids and I was struggling, financially, I struggled in every way. I was in a constant state of anxiety. I was in a state of ongoing depression. I was diagnosed with adrenal fatigue. Why? Because the inner conflict was so real and so painful for me that it affected my mindset and everything else I did. What we really don't talk about when we talk about creating a transformation in life is the mindset piece. I know this sounds woo woo, but the fact of the matter is, 80% of what is going on in your life right now and in mine is a function and a byproduct of our thought processes, our thinking patterns, and sort of the things that drive us to make the decisions we make or to do the things that we do. And whatever limitations we have created for ourselves in our own mindset, in our own paradigm of how we look at the world, how we look at work, how we look at money, how we look at parenting. And we've created subconsciously these restrictions and these sort of barriers, and we're not really consciously aware of them. Like we've got a goal, we know we want to be here, but we're here and we feel really, really stuck and we can't figure out why. How do we close that gap? And again, so much of it has to do with mindset and the beliefs that are driving our behavior. So I get into all of that pretty deeply in Solo Boss Mom. So we've got to mind the mindset. It's going to be very, very important. We also have to look at why 90% of women report feeling the sense of burnout. That's not just solo moms. That's all women at this point are reporting a significant measure of what they feel is burnout. And so if that's the case across the board, how much more significant is it and how much more long term is that feeling for solo moms who are either running their own business or trying to build a business from the ground up to create some type of freedom and control in their lives? It's significant. When we are overwhelmed, when we are overloaded, our patience suffers, our bandwidth to handle and process information suffers. We are not present with our children. I know so many times some of my guilt came from the very fact that I didn't feel I could actually be present. I had so many things going on, all the programs in the background in my mind, that when I was at one of my kids' baseball games, I would be watching them and I'd be cheering and I'd be thinking of 100 other things in the background, not actually really present to enjoy. And that is a time stealer. And it's also a joy stealer. So the goal is you want to be there. You want to be the one shaping your children's lives. You want to be the one influencing them predominantly in their lives. Actually spending the time with them that matters. Here's the reality. Time is the one commodity you don't get back on this planet, in this dimension. You can replace things, you can replace money, but time, that's not something you can replace here. So we have to take this so seriously. And you definitely can't replace time with your kids. And so many moms get to the point where their kids are adults and they look back and say, if only. What could have been different? How could I have changed things? Helping to alleviate that mom guilt, as it's known, is to solve the issue of the misalignment. It's the wanting to be with our kids more often and not being able to. That's the problem to solve. And sure, there are tools to help with your mindset and to reframe your thought patterns and all those kinds of things as it relates to having to work right now and then, wanting to spend extra time with your kids. There are ways to bridge those gaps. mentally. But here's the secret: they don't last very long. And the reason they don't last very long is because we're doing mental and emotional gymnastics to bridge the gap and the source of pain. And that source of pain is you want to spend more time with your kids. You want some more freedom and flexibility. That is honorable, and that is my goal. It's to help you get to that place. Let's get to the place where there is no guilt because you have the freedom and flexibility to sow into your kids' lives and to be present when it matters. So instead of trying to manage the guilt or convince yourself it's worth it, it's all worth it, what if we just told the truth? The guilt isn't the problem. The problem is that your life isn't structured in a way that matches your priorities and your heart's desire, which is to spend more time with and be with your kids now. The goal is to build a life you don't have to feel guilty about. A business that actually gives you the freedom and flexibility you want, offers you time, offers you control, offers you a little bit of freedom. And when we talk about freedom, there are a couple of forms of freedom. There's financial freedom. That's very important. There's decision-making freedom. Being available without everything collapsing and not constantly trading time for survival. Because when we do that, then we're in survival mode. We're in a constant state of stress. When your life is aligned, you're not constantly choosing between your business and your kids. You've built something that supports both. If you're a solo mom building a business and you want to do it in a way that actually gives you your life back, please subscribe to this channel because this is exactly what I teach. And in the description, you will find a link for a 15-minute reset for solo moms building businesses who want freedom, not survival. Click the link in the description and be sure to download your free copy today. Love you so much, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.